Alright guys, welcome to Game 4 between Smiga and Eka for the Valhalla Clan Golden Chair Tournament, with Eka leading the series 2-1 with games on equal footing. Oasis and Treasure Island, and now we're here on Savannah, and we're going to see if Smiga's got what it takes to take this series to Game 5, or if Eka is going to be able to get a win on Egypt, who he hasn't actually fielded for this tournament at all yet until this series, with a loss in Game 3 on them. Smiga going for a starting barracks. Eka opening double storehouse. It's actually quite a large map, relatively long rush distance, so this may not be a bad idea for Eka to play a bit greedy, but at the same time he does have a front side hunt. He's going for hunting dogs as well, so he's really doubling down on the greedy hunting opening, while Smiga going for the aggressive spearman first opening. So our players both now the type to field 4 civs in a tournament. So they're not just one-trick ponies. Smiga gonna cram out these Egyptian spears. They're a little cheap. 45 resources, only take 13 seconds to train. A bit squishier than other spears. Eka just going to try and thin out the initial spear push here. The Egyptian scout actually quite good against the spearman type units. Not as good against Persia's Sparabara type with their ranged attack, but they're actually stronger against the spears than the melee scouts of the other civilizations. So Smiga's going for it. He's seen the hunt, he's seen the storehouse, he knows what he's got to do here to slow this game down, give himself the presence, give himself the map control, give himself the initiative, all these things that you want to establish in high level PvP. So Smiga and Eka, 12 villages apiece this early on. Smiga well ahead in terms of population with these spearmen, and he does manage to get a villager. So this is what he wants. He's got a villager, he's got another one quite low, so Eka might even have to take the priestess off this to actually keep training, keep healing. He is going to save this villager and heal up both of these guys, but right now Eka being forced back onto the herdable. He's still making use of his hunting dog upgrade by doing so, but he's still not really gathering much faster than his berries gather rate. Eka already aging up. Smiga still producing spears at this stage. He's going to want to shift hunts here. He's already got the second storehouse up, and it's quite a greedy hunt. But at the moment, while he's got the spearmen out in the field, he can afford to do this. Eka's just going to try and delay any damage from the spears with his scouts. Try and take as much health off the spearmen as he can with it. Smiga trying to prevent Eka from having a nice quick second town center. So Eka only needs about 35 wood. If he can get that, he's actually fine here. Nice garrison there by Eka. And Smiga trying to get a bit of value, but the priestesses are healing each other. Eka with some really nice micro here. Oh, wonderful stuff. Gonna lose basically nothing to this final push here by Smiga's spears. And Smiga, his age up, only finishing up now, and he is a while away from having his second town center out. So 17 villages to 18. Eka getting a couple of low vills healed up and healing up his priestesses. He's cost himself a little bit of villager production time. by rallying off the priestesses, but it's really been worth it. He's saved villages, he's saved the priestesses. It's a nice garrison micro. Now Smeagol, he is up in terms of population, but his villager pop lead of 2 is gonna really slow down because he's still got to get quite a bit more in the way of stone. Ekka's actually overgathered a bit of stone here, but that's gonna probably be good for him in the long run because it means he doesn't have to worry about stone to get his first, possibly his second armory upgrade. Smeagol's going to try once again just to try and take out a villager here. Going to cost a bit more gathering time. Ekka is actually going to struggle a bit for early food here because he is only on these starting berries. He does have another hunt over here, which he is going to start going for now because it's going to be tough. He has left just enough food in the bank to be able to continue ideal Vil production here. So he's slightly late on it now. There we go. But that early rush by Smeagol now has pretty much come to a halt. Smeagol waiting for the stone for a second town center. Ekka pretty much just closed the gap now in Vil count at 23 apiece, or 23 to 24. So it's really slimmed down. Smeagol's still got to add his second town center, but he is going to be able to take a nice spot with it. A little bit greedier than Ekka. Going to secure a gold mine and a hunt rather than just a hunt and a wood line around his starting town center. So double barracks here for Ekka, and he's adding conditioning. Smeagol for the moment has cut. Oh no, there we go. He's just started axe production. He's already got conditioning. That's going to be nice for him. Ekka's starting to pull ahead in terms of pop count, but that's including what he's got garrison. I mean, what he's got in queue. So Vil counts 27 apiece. There's not a huge amount of resources to the initial south of our opponent's base, but you come southeast or southwest and there's all this gold and stone. So Savannah, it does force you to play a little bit expansively, I think. Like Ekka's going to have to try and work towards these hunts now outside of the safety of his town center. Smeagol playing a bit more greedy with his initial town center, but he's secured a hunt and a gold with that. Ekka not actually covering a second gold mine with town centers yet as well, so I think Smeagol does have an upper hand here when it comes to camel harass. Especially considering Ekka has gone 2 barracks and stables, while Smeagol's gone barracks and stable, and he'll probably add more barracks behind this. So pop count's relatively even, and in terms of what's on the field, I think it actually favours Ekka. Oh no, here we go. Yeah, it is pretty much even. It's just sort of hard to tell because they're constantly adding stuff to their training queue, which also puts the population up. But it's not until they actually get out in the field that they can do anything. So double racks, double stables here for Ekka. Second barracks here for Smeagol. So he's actually trailing by a production facility. So Smeagol doing well to keep up in terms of population, considering Ekka's got a building lead right now. The camel's going to be a useful tank against the axemen, but at the same time, you don't want to be losing them. There are 100 resources to the axemen's 50. And this is probably not the fight Smeagol was hoping for. Ekka pushing well, keeping the axemen count down for Smeagol right now. Smeagol, plenty of resources in the bank. He can just keep these guys going. He's adding that third barracks. We've got 2 stables. Ekka, double stables behind double barracks. Well, sorry, barrack stables, and then armory. Ekka going barrack stables, barracks, and possibly looking to add an armory next. But yeah, he's floating a bit too much food. If he can sort that out, it'll give him the wood he actually needs to keep up with Eka in terms of building. So there's already another stables on the way here for Eka. He wants to be able to remax once he takes fights. Eka trailing in terms of actual population at the moment. So I think if Smeagol brings everything together, he could actually fare quite well here. Eka's going to try and clean up these raiding patrolling units. Because if he can do so, that's basically going to swing things back his way population-wise. So Eka, Smeagol probably should have really just got out of there to start with. They look nice with Zahak's sword. Zahak's axe. Zahak's axe. It's a funny thing to try and say, isn't it? In fact, they've both got Zahak's axe. Good on Smeagol for keeping an eye on things here. Eka are also trying to keep an eye on a couple of resource nodes there. His scout's going to be able to escape. They're just too quick. There's not a lot that can really catch them. 10 speed. The camels are at 10 speed themselves, but you need them to have the benefit of your stable speed upgrades. Actually, do stables give the speed upgrades, or is it only barracks and range? So Smeagol trying to pressure Eka here. And camel count favouring Smeagol right now. Axeman count favouring Eka, and he does have some spearmen in the mix, which is going to be handy for him. Smeagol's actually got priestess though, so that'll be good for him. He can heal things up. We can add another priestess or two to really make it easy for him to defend or drag out fights. So Smeagol's actually pulling back because he wanted to clean up that rhino. And just by chance, Eka's actually going for a camel raid now. But this is a really nice catch here for Smeagol. He's going to pick off 7 or 8 villages there. So there's 8 vills. I think he's going to get pretty much all of them. Oh no, he's going to get 4 of them at least. Camels here for Eka are also harassing Smeagol's base. Smeagol with temper on the way. Eka doesn't look like he's got any upgrades just yet. He's just adding scale mail and hide armor. So the armor upgrades are combined for Egypt. But Smeagol's temper is going to kick in earlier than Eka's scale mail, which is going to mean he's got the advantage here in a fight. He really needs to just commit to a fight right now. The worst thing Eka can do is actually fight for the next 15 seconds. But if he can stall this... Smeagol, just push. What the hell are you doing? Oh, he hasn't cleaned up this. So the camels for Eka are actually taking out the reinforcement line there for Smeagol. So the population actually did start to swing Eka's favour there. And now he's got his armour upgrade. But he hasn't started... Oh, he's only just started temper. So it's going to be about 40 seconds slower than scale mail here for Smeagol. So I think Smeagol had a really good opportunity to actually push there, and if he had killed the army or got onto these low villages, it really could have gotten a bit ugly there for Eka. But in saying that, that camel count favouring Smeagol, as long as he doesn't commit to this fight. Eka's actually... This is quite nice for Eka because he's going to clean up all the camels pretty much for free here, while Smeagol struggling to sort out his food eco through this, and I think he's put a bit too much attention into that. Now it's still a little bit lopsided. He's going to have to start committing to farms, which I think... Oops, Silver Age finishing there. Eka already has a good farm eco, getting plough now at the moment. The distant town centre. A blessing and a curse sometimes. Smeagol's going to want to repair this and also just take this fight. But he is down by about 20 population. He isn't up in terms of armory upgrades anymore, so Eka's taking good times to fight here. But there's a lot of Eka's units not really actually participating in the fight. So this is going better for Smeagol than it otherwise could be. So he is going to back off. He is at a population deficit of about 18. But now Eka trying to fight outside of the town center range, and in the meanwhile it means Smeagol adding a bunch of units. Ooh, Smeagol trying to go for the food here at the bottom, but Ekka's trying to steal this hunt, and on top of that, he's already got some camels here. So Ekka trying to force Smeagol back, pinching opponent's hunts, forcing him to have to try and switch to that farm eco now, which is going to be a bit tough. Like, even though Smeagol's got a 1,000 wood in the bank, that's 10 farms or, you know, 12 chariots, so he's got some decisions to make here. But iron smelting kicking in, Ekka trying to get Axeman Champion on the way, as Smeagol's already got it. So Smeagol slightly ahead in terms of upgrades here, so things are going well for him. No iron smelting, no Axeman Champion just yet for him. So Smeagol, really all he needs to do is just keep training shit and push right now. But Ekka continuing to be a pest with the camels, continuing to try and gather over Smeagol's side of the map, though he's got a lot of idle units. Axeman Champ still some way away. Ekka with a lot of Axemen queued up. Only got the 3 barracks now though. Ekka's only on 3 for the moment as well. This is a nice pickup here for Smeagol. He's going to get a lot of these villages. Perhaps not as many as he'd have hoped there though. A lot of them are getting quite low. But Ekka, quite limited in terms of gold here. He's only got this mine here. This one up towards the top. Camel getting cleaned up by Ekka, so... I mean, by Smeagol. So Smeagol getting barbed arrows. Ekka, is he getting any armor yet? No. Ekka really only has H2 armors and H2 melee damage. Smeagol with H3 damage, and he's actually adding H2 range damage, and also has his armors from H2. Ekka continuing to expand outwards with these storehouses, and he's gathering from the gold here at the lower side of the map, but I think Smeagol's aware of this, so he's going to try and punish this as much as he can. He's got a few units just camping the top side, but not too many. Now Smeagol going to have to try and... Oh, sorry, now Ekka's going to have to try and bring everything out in the map. But I don't know if Smeagol's aware Ekka's pinching this gold mine, because then he can always find it easier to fall back onto these two with a defensive fortress. He's just trying to get as much of that almost completely central gold there as he can. But Ekka, well aware of where the army is, and he's not going to panic. He's actually going to leave the villages there, because Smeagol doesn't realize. Well, Ekka going to try and shove that distant town center once again. So he's going to try and get a bit more value out of this and force Smeagol away from that lower side of the map. It's going to be a while before this army can do anything to this push from Ekka here. Both players just under 180 population. Smeagol adding Camel Champ, Ekka about to add it as well, about to get his Age 3 armor. So Smeagol not adding armor yet, when he has that damage. Smeagol going into this population cap, so he is actually slightly down on pop, 80 to 87. Dill lead favouring Smeagol here, and he's got a fucking lot of resources in the bank. In fact, I think he should just commit to this fight. I don't know why he just lets Ekka go there. Ah, there's a camel raid here from Ekka, trying to delay the re-establishment of a town center. Camel's going to get picked off pretty quickly by the chariots though. Smeagol looking to just push while he's still got the armory advantage. The army just sort of fanning out there and stopping. Population's extremely even, although army pop slightly favouring Ekka overall here. Smeagol having to back off now. Ah, yep, so that force there from Smeagol. Not in the fight, and it might make the difference here, having lost those units to start with. But Smeagol now with a good engagement. Eka having to reposition. It's a good chariot count here for Smeagol. Eka in the meanwhile has the advantage in the front line, but I think it's starting to wear thin now. Smeagol establishing a fortress there. Eka don't really see much in the way of forward fortresses, and he's just going to finish this gold mine, then maybe try and pinch one of Smeagol's with a fortress as well. Because if you can do that, you're basically securing 3,000 gold and costing your opponent 3,000 because you're taking it from their side of the map. It is a bit greedy. It does mean you've got to play a bit more expansively with your, your unit management, just your overall game awareness than your opponent though. Eka adding iron smelting and then barbed arrows, broadhead arrows on the way for Smeagol. And yeah, a lot of villages here for Eka. He is going to try and steal his opponent's gold mine here. Those camels really buying Smeagol a lot of time. I mean, Eka a lot of time, sorry, because that's 23 population being held up over 4 population. So really smart work there from Eka. It's stopping Smeagol from keeping his whole army together, even though I think Smeagol is slightly ahead at the moment. And Eka's actually taking a lot of risk gathering from Smeagol's side of the map. But if he pulls this off, Smeagol's really only got the 2.5 gold mines, well, 2 gold mines worth of gold left. Eka's still got 3, so, and he's also gathering the gold from down here. So really smart play by Eka. He's not going to need to transition to markets as quickly as Smeagol, and he's also speeding up how quickly Smeagol's going to need to, because neither player's really set up for a perfect market line. I think Smeagol's is slightly better set up for a market. Well, that's a lot of vills there that Smeagol could clean up. But right now, Eka's just trying to actually wall off portions of the map, make it more difficult for Smeagol to actually gather around the map. He's already restricting his opponent on the other side. Just trying to push here, get a little bit of value, get some eco kills, prevent his opponent from either going to age 4 or just losing villages and then massing up a massive army with the population he frees up. So Smeagol's age 4 now actually. Eka not far off getting the resources for it, but at the same time he's trying to take fights, and if he loses too much here, he's not going to be able to both age up and remax his army. Smeagol adding a market line here. A lot of camels inside Smeagol's base, but he's got the camels of his own to clean it up. So 65 vills to 83. So army size is actually really starting to favour Smeagol now. He's slightly faster with that age 4. Eka will be building it over the back here. A few idlers standing around, he would have just grabbed a whole bunch of villages and said, "Oi, build this now." Eka continuing with the multi-pronged harass. He's doing a good job of it. He's got 9 camels there. Smeagol keeping his army together as a big death ball, so if he can force an engagement, he comes out well ahead, but if he doesn't get that engagement that he's looking for, it could really turn pear-shaped, because his market line and all these vills are under attack. So Eka just trying to flee with the smaller army. And I think Smeagol actually should just look at massing and shoving as hard as he can, while his opponent still in age 3 and you're in age 4. All the camels having to try and defend against the siege towers, and Smeagol really needs to get his villagers to also try and take part here, either repair or try and just melee down those siege towers. While Eka, Chariot Archer champion, he's a bit slower to age 4 than his opponent. Upgrade situation is pretty much the same for our players. They've got the full age 3 upgrades, no age 4 upgrades yet. Smeagol's just trying to get as much done here inside his opponent's base as possible. Eka, in the meanwhile, gonna have to try and mass up and stop this push. A lot more units making their way across the field. A bunch of Axemen in queue for Smeagol here. Eka shooting all the way up to 200 population now as well, so he's done well to play catch up here. He's gonna be able to snipe the catapult. Oh no, he doesn't. He's left it on 1 health. So that's really unfortunate for Eka. Although he's gonna be able to clean it up now, committing a bit more camel to it. Axeman for Smeagol focusing down that temple is really not what he wants. He really needs them in this fight. So Eka ultimately able to hold on here without too much actual structural loss to his base. All the towers, the town center, both the barracks is all surviving there. Chariot counts favoring Eka though. But camel counts favoring, chariot counts favoring Smeagol, but camel counts definitely favoring Eka. He's going to clean up this fight over here. In the meanwhile, the gold mine actually finally being liberated by Smeagol, but he's lost his markets, and Eka having mined that gold really puts him at a disadvantage here. He's only got this gold mine to control now, because there's only 200 gold or so left here. And Eka in the meanwhile has still got 3 mines he can sit on, I think. This one might need some fortresses, but he's got the resources to do so. And right now Smeagol, his eco slightly larger than Eka's, but a little bit less in the bank overall. Can't really afford to throw down fortresses wherever he wants, or walls, which at this stage of the game is invaluable, so you can keep your market line alive. And that market that is about to go up, I think is going to be interrupted by Eka. Eka trying to get on top of the catapults because they're doing a great job at splashing onto the ranged here, but there is camels focusing them down. Smeagol running out of units here. He's dipping below 100 population. Eka, not a lot in the queue for him either at the moment, but he overall does have a lot more population, but he hasn't got quite enough to stick around fighting under the fortress now. Just isn't that critical mass. Neither player able to afford age 4 upgrades at the moment. But Smeagol losing more villages to the camels, and Eka suddenly surging ahead in terms of the villager population. The eco looking much stronger for him. Smeagol struggling for food. He's going to have to try and resaturate these farms. Possibly even add in crop rotation, but then if he does so, he doesn't have any gold or wood left. Bunch of spears being trained by Smeagol. But the camels are just relentless by Eka. So Eka's going to keep his opponent marching around the map. Try not to take any head-on engagements with those spears. They're dirt cheap, and Smeagol's using it as a bit of a stopgap. He's trailing in terms of population here, and he doesn't want to have any of his army get caught in a engagement at all here. So there's a lot of camels on the way to try and stop this. Eka's main force is actually still back here. And so Smeagol, this little raiding party is actually gonna really fall quite quickly. It's not a cheap army because there is a war alley in the mix. Smeagol's village is going to fall, so he's dipping below that 50 villager population mark. He really needs to try and put a fortress down on this gold mine or something. He really needs to be able to camp this one out. There's Eka. Even though he hasn't really got much in the way, I don't think he's got any forts yet. It's really only Smeagol that's got forts. Eka's really making the pre-war Ellie Egypt army work, and he's all the way into age 4 now, and he hasn't touched elephants. Smeagol, in the meanwhile, has used elephants a little. I don't think he's used his forts as as expansively around the map as he possibly could. This is good in a way though, because it really does cover for that town center, but Smeagol's just too far behind to hold on, and GG. Eka is the Valhalla Clan Golden Chair tournament winner. So thanks for watching, guys. Big thank you to our players. Yeah. Hey Rex, what's going on, man? Yeah, I think Smeagol, like you said, Tempais, he either needed to raid better or he needed to have a better defensive setup in the end there, because Eka just slowly picked him apart. And there was a lot of stages there where I thought Smeagol actually had the advantage to just push. And in terms of like upgrades, not really an upgrades tab there, is there? Where are we looking? Yeah. Like in terms of the upgrades, Smeagol, does it show you in here? Nah, it doesn't list upgrades. But in terms of the upgrades, I think Smeagol led a lot of that by 1 or 2 upgrades for most of Age 2 and Age 3 there. Eka did have population advantages, but I feel like, particularly as you get close to 160, 180 population, if you're within 20 pop and you've got an upgrade lead, you're generally going to come out on top. And yeah, I think that push there, he didn't really get any value. I think the catapult, I think, killed a couple of farms, and that was pretty much it in terms of structure. Losses for Eka. Like, he's taken a lot of damage across these buildings, but you know, it didn't clean up the rest of the farms. It didn't clean up the houses, the barracks, and it was probably just a fight he didn't need to take. So the one time he did that big shove was sort of the time that Eka was even on upgrades, whereas if he had have done it a little bit earlier a couple of times, not necessarily full commit and just lose everything, but just take the fight on your opponent's doorstep or just harass his structures, I think he could have pushed into Eka or forced him to take a worse fight than he otherwise needed to take. Eka held his nerve though, did well. Because I think out of the 3 macro games they've played, this was the closest. But yeah, guys, well played. GG to Smeagol. I think he's really come a long way as well. As much as I've just been critiquing him for losing. Yeah, I mean, he beat me 2-1, so he must be playing well. Oh, good stuff. He's managed to face both Eka and Ashwar too, so that's always a bit daunting. Yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Well played to our players. And we're going to figure out when Panna and I are going to do the Bronze bloody final game.